Give it to me, baby.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The history session is about to begin. Hey.
Yeah, man.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Cheers. Lots of people in chat. Got us to the moon. Dr. Levy alone.
Here's Daddy Red.
Daddy Red. What's going on, Daddy Red?
Cheers.
Got a chance to have dinner with Daddy Red last night. It was awesome.
Cheers, Gabe.
You know what's happening in my ears. If I can figure out
Are you hearing yourself?
Yeah, except I can't figure out where.
I can't turn it off yet.
I've got multiple windows open. I figured it out. But multiple windows are open. And all that's going on. So now I'm going to make sure that I get the chat out here and
let me try to do this again.
Participate live with everybody. Don't forget to participate live, everybody. Hit that live chat.
Don't get stuck. Come on.
Well,
do it. Do it. Quit focusing on me. Focus on the weed.
Calm our nerves here with the history session here for a moment while everybody tunes us. You got that, Skilbo.
No, it keeps trying to focus on everything but that.
Yeah, maybe back a little.
See how like how clear it's got my face and shit.
Yeah, it is. It's got you back there. Oh, there it is, right there. Boom, tagged in. Wow,
there you
go. I like it.
Fantastico.
Skilbo, tell our lovely, fabulous viewers what you're holding up there.
I am holding up. I'm not going to try to do it twice. It won't work twice. Maybe it will.
Maybe it will.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is some blueberry shortcake from Colorado Genetics. Cheers, Kazoo.
Cheers.
I'm a sequence on that. Kazoo.
Are you going to say it?
Kazoo. Kazoo.
Comes in and just mispronouncing names.
Stone.
Guys, the only reason I said Kazoo is because I asked him.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, then you can't go back to him. Hello, Blue Kiss. Good to see you again, Jason.
Good seeing
cheers.
Popping in, man. DOG's saying hello to everybody. If you can hear him back there, he's got a little something to say. So we're running so dry.
Show off the notes before we start, Red.
Well,
let him
we've
see.
Got a little bit of this. It's like a book. It's like a whole. Oh yeah, I've even got arrows.
So arrows to direct myself.
Yeah, and well, I want to hit that Reddit article or whatever you sent earlier this morning. Sequence also sent it to me, so I definitely want to
doubling down on it. Okay.
I also want to give
congratulations to Sequence as well for the job, which means the soon ending of the tea break for him.
He's
and then Painted Lady will be able to.
Everybody, I want the what was it, the communal,
the collective vibe,
the communal collective positive energy. Everybody send some good positive clean thoughts out Sequence's way. This man has undergone, we all know what type of a physical mental strain it is to stop taking the medicine that works so well. So he's done that as an adult for the last 3 solid 4 maybe more weeks. Shout out to that man. He's doing a good job. Painted Lady as well, shout out to her for doing it in solidarity with him. I'm pretty sure she still hasn't taken a dab or smoked a doob at all either. So shout out to both of them.
He was just saying that he is now getting to the point where he's just back to quote unquote, air quotes normal, meaning that he can eat and not suffer. So of course, now
that means that when he takes that first toke, blast off.
Cheers, JMB.
Yeah. Have a nice toke, and who knows, man, maybe his tolerance being knocked down, he won't have to toke as much. He'll be able to ration his supplies. Who knows what a nice little tea break can do for all of us.
I wouldn't know and don't really want to know. I wouldn't know
either, man. It's been.
I was just looking at this ancient fucking canister grinder that I've had for eons.
Is that like a worn sticker, or is that just worn tarnish?
That's just worn. Yeah.
Whoa, baby.
Whoa, dude!
I'm thinking I gotta replace I was thinking the Santa Cruz was gonna last forever, but unfortunately, the sucker's just I don't know, man. It's maybe gouged up too much in the lid. I might have to. I bet if I take a file to it, the you can't see it, but like
it's aircraft grade aluminum.
It's all mushroomed here from I give it the old tap. So the entire all the way around is mushroomed down. So. I need to
you don't have a CNC lathe happen to you, dude.
I have a file. I have plenty of file sets, man. I'm hit the sucker up with a file. I could clean the sucker up.
Sure.
Yeah. Old
cheers, kid.
Aircraft
welcome.
Mechanic can't clean a grinder. I don't know what the fuck I can do. So
it's aircraft grade aluminum, right?
Aircraft grade aluminum.
Well, definitely you can do that. Just fix it.
I'll just fix it. I'll just pop some rivets in it. Yeah, here we go.
Take it to put a bead on there. Weld
to the shop. Yeah. So I was thinking, man. Well, actually, I want to give a shout out to Abolish Farms. He's in here. Abolish Mycology. Shout out to him. He's also taking himself a little tea break, doing a little bit of a tea break, social media tea break. We all need this sometimes, guys. We all need to get our bodies, our minds all in order. After all, we support mental health awareness, and all that stuff here on the show. So,
Yeah,
whatever's bugging you, man, whatever's getting under your skin, take a little break. It's good for you. And Sequence and them, they had to take a little break off the dabs. You need to get a new job, man. Look, you put a little bit of discipline under your belt and give yourself a whole new life. And good things will come. I believe it, man. It's good.
Becca, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Becca got herself a reading.
Oh yeah,
today.
I had a natal
astrological reading.
What? You want to talk about it?
An hour and
she got her navel.
No, that's not what it means.
Natal.
He got squatted for.
Cotton swab.
Hey, you know what? I've had mine done before. I know what that shit is.
It was super cool. It it really made me feel like where I'm at right now in life is like where I'm meant to be, and I'm
give you a sense
of
peace.
Stuff.
Yeah,
it's good for that.
Can I compliment you on that wicked fucking tie-dye shirt? That is, I've never seen one that just goes from the top. That's sweet.
Yeah, I didn't make it. Can't recall where I got it, but
caught me out of the corner just a second ago. So nice.
Oh man, this is so good.
Believe it or not, I worn it on this show.
It shows you how observant I am on this show, right?
Yeah, me too. Right? Naturally, it's Skilbo.
It happens. Okay, so you held up a bunch of notes, man.
I did, but I want to shout out Jason Eiston real fast because he's talking about the almost full moon, which
the
is
crystal ball.
Full moon in Aries, of course. Even though I'm a cusp, I'm a Pisces and an Aries. All my other moon, sun signs are all Aries. So according to the actual time I was born, I didn't do the thing that she did today, but I've done other internet searches and stuff. But the in-depth talking to a human about it, I have to imagine is really cool. And I mean, someone at least acclaimed professional of some sort, some sort of a would you say accredited sort of a astrological reader, something like that.
Yeah,
we only go to accredited ones, of course.
Did a lot of
Miss Cleo.
What?
Bumbleclot, yeah.
I don't know if that was only a Detroit thing or what, but that had.
No, Miss Cleo, no, that was nationwide, bro.
Nationwide, all right, yeah. Everybody
call me now.
Miss Cleo was great, dude. The old 800 number, man. She would have these commercials. They were fantastic. I don't want to do the voice or anything right now.
I learned a lot about Aries. The person who did
the God of War
said that I was in like my past lives an Aries, which is the first. It's the first of the houses in the horoscopes, and it's said that Aries, they're worried about making sure they're okay and themselves, and could be a good thing and a bad thing,
sure.
Right? But then I'm a Pisces, so I'm all the way at the end, and they say that Pisces, like
the fish, have
lived through, have the experiences of all the other houses, and they use that. It's just super cool, super interesting.
I think I say birthday in chat also. Happy birthday, Jason Eiston, as well.
Yeah, happy birthday Eve. Is that what we would call that? No, birthday Eve. Yeah. Not to be confused with birthday Summer's Eve.
So interesting enough, we're going to go through this as part of our history lesson, but he shares a very interesting date with a very interesting topic of our story today. So we'll get to there soon. I don't want to spoil it yet. So Becca mentions that the Aries is the beginning of the astrological calendar and Pisces is the end of the astrological calendar, which makes it so wonky for me being the cusper that I am and having the birthday that rides in between both calendars. So that's an interesting one. I do find similarities between both. Obviously, I definitely lean more on the Aries side of things with some of my personality traits. More like my lifestyle traits. My personality traits kind of lean on the Pisces side. But anyways, let's see here, man.
The thinking and the thought is where you're more like in the Pisces side, I would say. But like your logic and your
determination,
your day to day, yeah, all that.
Yeah.
It's much more
Bullheadedness.
Sure.
So we're gonna do
no, not you, buddy.
him.
Yeah. I need to roll something up too. Here, would you actually please open up that little? I can't reach. Grab a flow. We're gonna smoke some flow and lift up the mood a little bit here and smoke some hippie crashers stuff. Kind of like. So, anyways, let's see here. Here, let me show this off. Jar of flow. I have no idea where the camera's on this.
It always has that super bright fucking green color, dude.
Yeah,
that's how I could always tell it apart.
Trimmed up nicely by Miss Becca here. Excellent job, Becca.
Leo.
Let's see here. She's gonna take care of the Yelper down there. And so let's see here. We're going to get into a little bit of the 20th century thing. So next week, all right, on Tuesday, we have Bicycle Day. Talked a little bit about what Bicycle Day is last week. We'll get into it again a little bit today. And of course, I think I'm going to do a little live session or something possible on Bicycle Day. We'll see what happens, what my motivation is like. And then, so Jason Eystone actually shares his birthday on the 16th, if that's the case, with what happened just preceding Bicycle Day, which was Albert Hoffman's first experience with LSD. So this happens, in 1943. So yeah. What's that? 70 years, 69 years ago, something like that.
Hey.
So if we can go back that far,
get an A in chat.
Maybe even it's longer than that. I don't know. That's
actually
so anyways.
No, that's longer. That's 73.
79.
There you go.
79.
79.
That was another decade. All right. So 79 years ago. Wow, man. Almost the 80th birthday. Next year will be the 80th birthday of
will you both be celebrating?
Allegedly?
Bicycle Day?
Allegedly celebrate? I'm illegal. Michigan may almost be illegal here soon. Get the old decrim all going here. But yeah, man. So we're gonna have a little celebration conversation today. We're gonna get into the night because what we have going on today is a psychedelic renaissance. And even Albert Hoffman put it that way, of a LSD and psychedelic renaissance. Albert Hoffman, of course, passed away back in like 2010 or something like that,
which seems ridiculous. Seems like he should have been gone like the 1960s or something.
Albert Hoffman was 102 years old. He took LSD for the last time when he was 97 years old. He was known for dosing.
I mean, fuck it. If you've made it that far, dude, what more can you see, right?
Neuroplasticity, man.
We're going to talk about that already?
Neuroplasticity.
You want to bring that up? Red made a comment a long time ago about something, and it was like, well, I'll let you tell it, Red, just because we finally gave you the proof of your assertion.
What was that? The question that LSD produces neuroplasticity? Or similarly to psilocybin.
Yes.
Now psilocybin,
but the microdosing, but not the macro.
Yes, right. 10, 20, 30 micrograms.
Right. Because we've had people that in the past have said, well, I don't know if that really works or not, if you can actually microdose it. It was one of the things that I encountered. And I was like, well, maybe it's anecdotal. Maybe it's only working because I think it's working for me. You know what I mean? Rather than actually working. I don't know.
It's cool to see the imaging though, where it's showing
for sure
the neurons.
Yeah. Cheers, Narwhal.
Somebody just posted something.
Well,
Hamilton,
possibly Miss Vicious. Hamilton Morris had posted something a long time ago, and some of the stuff that Hamilton Morris they were showing some brain scans of LSD, and he was talking to some doctors who had brain scans of LSD.
If you guys haven't
like in the machine, yeah.
If you guys haven't watched Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia,
wasn't that behind like a paywall or some shit before? Like you had to have some subscription to be able to watch it or some shit. It wasn't just on YouTube
Vice.
anymore.
It was Vice. It was Vice originally, HBO Vice. Before HBO took on Vice. Or wait, I might be wrong about HBO and Vice. Or maybe
they used to all be on YouTube, and then they all stopped being on YouTube.
When Vice was on HBO, maybe that's what it is. Maybe Vice was on HBO, and then they got their own content. I don't know.
Whatever it was.
Whatever it was. It goes back a long time. It's actually Hamilton Morris is the writer, producer, he used to do the entire thing himself. He would have like one person with a camera follow him around. It was his
back
show.
when Vice used to be like cutting edge, like cool shit, and not bought out.
Yeah, and he would sell it to Vice, I believe, is the way that it would work out. So like Vice, he didn't have any like, you know,
any money towards it.
No, no publications or anything towards it from Vice. Like Vice wasn't the producers or anything. He had his own producers and everything. So this entire show was just all completely, if you will, like clandestine, you know, to that respect. And
now
kind
it's
of
on
what he was
Hulu.
doing.
It's on Hulu. Super
You know,
easy to watch.
As an aside, I see in chat, JMB says, I don't know if I could handle a brain scan if I was on LSD. And so I'm sitting here and I thought to myself, I thought, you know, maybe I'm weird, or maybe it's Maybelline, but whatever it is, like, I never lose sight of the fact that I'm a person that is going through an experience.
Yeah.
And that experience is an altered reality. So I kind of do that as a defense mechanism, I guess.
Obviously it gets into this a lot in the Doors of Perception, and I want to get into that as well, because there's, well, I want to we're tangenting quite driftily.
Starting off normally, right?
Yeah. The Hamilton Morris thing with the brain scans on LSD, though, that showed new pathways and things like that kind of being generated. And then, you know, as of recently, we've discovered the psilocybin with lion's mane approach doing similar things. What they were actually discovering was neuroplasticity can be actually, like, not checked. What is it? Registered. It can be registered. It can be what's the word, Skilbo? It can be not cited. You can
detected.
It can be detected, but you can actually write down the results of neuroplasticity based on your blood plasma. Like, something about neuroplasticity reflects itself in blood plasma levels. So you can actually record this number. You can physically see this number, or visually see this number, right, of neuroplasticity. And they're seeing it under 10, 20, 30 micrograms of LSD occurring. Like you said, I think consecutive LSD, I didn't get too deep into the article, whether or not it was multiple weeks or sessions or several sessions or whatever it was. But
it's a DOG sighting. There goes
sighting back there.
Hey, buddy.
There he is.
What are you doing?
And it's time for his treat.
That's why he's following back here. He's like, where's the goods at, man?
But before we get into the 1900s, man, before we do all that, all right. So here we are. Well, kind of, this is the history of today, but I do want to talk about, like, where some of, like, the beginnings of all of this research began, right? When all this therapists and everybody's psychiatrists really started doing research on psychedelics, it didn't just started with LSD, but it goes back to mescaline, and it may even go back even further. We talked about psilocybin.
How old do they think that, how long do they think people have known about mescaline and used it therapeutically, I guess? Is there, I don't know, because
10,000 plus years. It goes back into indigenous.
Where was it originally found?
That I'm not sure, but probably in South America or Mexico, some area like that. I'm pretty sure that's where it's native to.
Is it an alkaloid?
Mescaline is an alkaloid of many different species of cacti. So it's a I think it's a phenylephrine class of indole. Okay. Different than the tryptamine class of indole, both of which make you trip. One is just slightly different. I think that they're like different amino acids or proteins or something like that make them ever so slightly different. Meaning that some of the phenethylamines can be more stimulating. Okay. Some phenethylamines may last longer, be more stimulating, and some things like that, right? And then tryptamines, such as LSD, DMT, it's in ayahuasca, psilocybin, Those are the main classic ones. That's tryptamine, which is a similar amino acid or protein that's also in the indole group. The indoles are typically what are hallucinogenics. And even though things like coca, cocaine, and other substances and other that would be more of a stimulant, right? Cocaine, ephedrine, cocaine, caffeine, things like that. Those are stimulants. Those have been used for millennia as well, but the topic kind of gears in towards entheogens specifically. And so where were we talking about? Skilbo had brought up somebody talking about the brain scans, and I feel the same way. I don't think that I'd be able to be in a closed, room with a doctor getting brain scans, even though I have that mindset of, this is a session. I'm a human who's taken a substance. This is part of the effects. You can logically play it out. And you can calm yourself. Those with acute anxiety, and this is described in Skilbo. Here we go.
Now I know what the fans feel like when somebody the other day said, I just started listening to the show and I'm trying to figure out where y'all are at when we were doing the late session. So I was gone for like 60 seconds to see what the dog was barking about. I'm all out of breath and shit, and I got to figure out where Red's at in the story. Like, damn, I got to catch up.
Oh yeah. Oh, I get it. No, I'm right back to where you were talking about, because I was describing the situation of being in a brain scan under a substance. Okay. And how you're saying it's very easy. Well, it's not easy, but you're saying to just recollect who you are, what you're doing. You're a person. You're going to come out of it.
I always think of like, I've found that it works best for me that I'll allow myself to go into the trip. But I've never, when I was younger, sorry, this is all disjointed and shit too.
No,
I've done this for over 35 years. I've been fucking with this stuff. And so it's always been a thing to me it's because of its scarcity, to try to put myself in the very best position I can to get the maximum benefit that I can get out of my experience. So I knew what set and setting was before I knew what set and setting was. Just because like people would say, hey man, you're going to amplify whatever you're bringing into what's going to get amplified.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful, and you have to, far be it for me to speak about someone else's psychological and psyche makeup. I can only speak on my own, which is unique. I'm finding as I get older. The only times that I've had negative experiences with any kind of entheogen or anything else is more like a realization of something, not like a spooky fun house. Holy shit, that was the craziest. Like it's always been like, hey, dude, you're running out of time, man. Like, like you got to get
demonic
your shit
figure.
No
dragons chasing you.
Nope, never had it.
It's
but maybe that's my mileage may vary because sure, yeah, man. But I think that might be because I go into it looking for those sorts of things anyway.
And you've experienced the other. Now I want to ask you what your experience with anxiety is, not under the influence, just in general daily state of awareness.
So when I was a kid, I would say that I had zero as a kid, right? And I would say as I got to be a teenager, I'd still say zero. It was like super overconfident about everything, like to a weird degree, like, I'll be fine, whatever it was, As I got older, it started to show in little ways. You know what I mean? Like just kind of an uneasiness. I don't want to sit with my back to the door. I want to see who's coming in the building, and it's shit that just starts coming, from other experiences.
Sure.
But I find as I'm getting older now, it's becoming pronounced to a stage that it could almost become, I don't even know what politically correct word I should use for it, man. I would say, since it's me and I can talk shit about myself, if anybody can, it's almost disabling. in certain instances.
Okay. Now I can understand disabling because my anxiety cripples me from breath. Take my breath away. Unable to
I don't get to that point. I just get to like the really heavy and like the isolating kind.
Okay.
Like I can go.
Yeah. Sure. In depression, anxiety, yes, where you just can't. You get behind on things. It's hard to accomplish tasks or something like that.
You know what I would say? I would say that I don't, if I'm really honest about it and I'm being really analytical, I would say that I've lived in a perpetual state of depression to some degree or another for 35 years or so. I don't know, something like that. 30 years probably. It's just.
Now, where are you at in high doses when you have this? My curiosity comes because I'm going to reflect on what Huxley said. There was his perception after we get through this a little bit. So,
be right back.
When you take a high dose, are you able to do these thoughts cause challenging experiences? Does anxiety or does the trip help the thoughts and kind of sign?
It's, if we're talking about LSD, I would say that LSD turns it off completely.
Okay.
And then it has like a oh my god, I just thought of the funniest fucking analogy, bro. You ready? This is a good one. So LSD is very similar to like toilet bowl cleaner. So like, you know how you put it in the back of the tank and it lasts like however long it does, and it just slowly erades. It just, slowly goes away over time, right? But then you would get, it gets to the point where you have to start putting more and more effort, and you're like, holy shit, man, it's time for me to redose the back of my fucking tank. So that everything goes through easier through life. And if that's not a great fucking polarity science analogy, I mean, I just don't even know.
I love that, dude. I think the worst part about trying to use Skilbo just compared LSD to toilet bowl cleaner, and it was perfect.
Toilet bowl cleaner?
Toilet bowl cleaner, yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'll explain to you later. If it didn't have such a tolerance buildup, I think if you stick in that 20 microgram range, 20 to 30 microgram range, you can kind of avoid that heavy tolerance buildup. But if you start dabbling in that 100 microgram range, it's difficult to like feel the effects of 20 micrograms like you want them to, because 20 micrograms can be very effective daily. 30 micrograms, maybe even according to Captain, for pain. Chem 420 says it's great for pain and about and mood and everything at about 30 months.
I still don't have the balls yet to fucking use it for a migraine. Dr. House used it for a migraine, dude. Did you see that episode? Yeah, on the show. He took a dose. Wasn't he looking for something and he couldn't find it, so he took that instead? He had he took everything. Nothing would help his migraine. He was having a cluster. He was trying to like Vicodin and shit. Yeah, he was trying Vicodin and all kinds of shit. And he took some LSD. And the whole show is kind of surrounded on his day doing LSD. Obviously everything else is going on in the hospital, but he's having his experience, which is a fine experience. He has a great day. There's no bad stigma, I think, associated. I mean, there's good stigma associated with that episode. And it comes after, the time where John Hopkins is getting back into the research game, which we're also going to get into here. So we haven't even touched your paper yet. No, a little bit. Dude, no, we really haven't. I wanted to do the icebreaker with the Incas because we were kind of talking about mescaline, and I wanted to get into that region of the world, into the South America a little bit. All right. So Aldous Huxley. Well, let's do the icebreaker here. Let's get into the South America region. Let's get into some ayahuasca, which we know the DMT has DMT in it.
Hold on, why did you bring up anxiety?
I brought up anxiety. We're gonna get back into it with
go around the mountain.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get back into it with Huxley.
I was wondering too, Beck. We'll get there.
We always do. So yeah, I just wanted to get into the anxiety thing for a moment, so we can kind of compare apples to oranges. Now, I have had challenging experiences more with psilocybin than with LSD. I've had much better experiences. Far
what
more
dosage are we
cuts to my
talking about
anxiety.
becoming challenging for you with mushrooms in the past? Is it like if you took an eighth, it was like way too heavy?
No. I think that it may just depend on, it would probably have depended on more like the potency, maybe my personal tolerance and things like that. Again, set and setting, 100% set and setting on bad experiences. Mostly having to do in times of like.
So did you have dragons?
No.
No, you just had
They come
suspicion
in the
with
form
people.
of thought loops. I have had deja vu thought loops during ego death and things like that, to where
Can you tell us about one?
the disillusion of the ego was so bad that I was thinking that I was in a perpetual purgatory. I thought that I was in a purgatory trip. No, I thought that I was in a permanent purgatory. I'm sorry, where I was in my bedroom, my home, or something, where I wasn't. I was actually at Western University hanging out with some friends. Took some mushrooms. I think I've told this story many episodes ago, but came out. My buddy had to like go on a beer run, so he leaves me. He's the only person that I know. I'm staying at his dorm. Staying the weekend with him. Good friend of mine from childhood, and so I'm with a bunch of his roommates and people that live around his dorm, and they're all like being weird. Oh, you tripping, man? Flicking
Strangers to
stuff
you,
at me,
right?
doing stuff. Yeah. And I started going into a gnarly headspace. I started thinking that one of the craziest thoughts was that I didn't even make it to my destination, that something happened en route and I was actually in a coma and going through this thought loop. This is why I was in a thought loop, was because I was actually in an accident or something, and I was stuck in my head. I was like visualizing like my parents over me, like I was visualizing myself in a hospital. It was very strange, bizarre. Reality, I was in a bathroom, like trying to like take a piss or something like that. You know what I mean? And then I come out of the bathroom. Of course, I can't piss. Did I pee? Nope, couldn't pee. Still have to pee really fucking bad. Go back in there. There's a bunch of people. I kind of start having a little bit of a freak out, I don't know my homies. Nobody's
I mean, that's
there
kind of
to
the thing, though. Like,
calm
we
me
are talking about
down.
breaking the complete thing of like setting. No matter
And
what your set was, that sort of a
this
setting
was all setting.
is
This was
so
all setting.
much.
Yep.
See, that's why I don't fuck around, man. You want to know how I fucked with this shit for so
I
many
took
years?
a cap
Because I take this
size. I
shit
took a
in
cap that looked like this. It was a giant cap. It had to have weighed.
eighth.
No, it wasn't an eighth cap, but it was a half grams, 1 gram cap, easy. Split that and a little bit more with a couple dudes, and I had like a little bit more left over.
Yeah.
But
That would give
the
me
other thing
anxiety
was,
too.
I was also a weed dealer. So I had like weed in my pockets, and like people were like asking me for weed while I was kind of tripping, and I like couldn't figure shit out, and that was kind of bugging me. There's like a lot of instances that go into this, you know what I mean? And like a lot of like anxieties that were kind of coming up. Finally, my friend came back, and I was like, kind of like,
hey man, help me out.
you know what I mean? And they were like, all right, dude, let's hang out in the dorm room by yourself for a little while and chill. If you need to. I was like, dude, I might need to lay down or something. And he was like, all right, just lay down for a little bit. That's when the shit went crazy. And I was on his like top bunk, stuck up there. I couldn't get down. It was fucking miles to the ground, and I was actually
strange place. You've never been here before.
And
like
everybody
this is just
was
every
gone.
rule.
Was
We've
gone.
just like ran through every blockade, like in a bad movie, where they got like all the blockades set up in this.
Oh, yeah. They thought I was napping, so they shut the lights off and stuff, or maybe I wanted the lights off or something. And like I'm just in my head, dude. I'm like walking up and around the wall on my back, like trying to like just struggling in my mind.
This is off this one cap, this one gnarly fucking
and maybe
cap.
a little bit more, But these were, if I can't recall, I feel like my friend said that they were called Fijis or something like that. They were, well, he called them lab grown, right? But they were
lab grown.
This is 2000 and
I would have said Martha grown.
2004, 2005 tops, so like they were Martha. Yeah, they were tote grown, they were indoor cultivated. They were grown well and high.
I never, when I was a kid, dude, I never thought that somebody was growing them. I always thought that it was like oh, they only come around a couple times a year because,
Yep,
you
me
know, they
too.
only grow on the manure piles and people are foraging them. And I wish I knew how to forage these things. And,
And
you know,
you get the
yeah,
little, I'd get cubensis all the time, but every now and then I'd get the little brown mushrooms that are probably
yeah.
foraged in northern Michigan and shit like that. And those would give you like a little buzz and they wouldn't do shit. You'd eat like a whole eighth and you'd be like, kind of feel it. Like they're psilocybin, but they're not very potent. You know what I mean? So it's like, whatever. Fortunately, none of us
Now you
got
get the
sick off.
chitin battle in your stomach. You're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
damn, it's a
Fortunately, none of us
trade-off.
got sick off of that shit because who knows if there's a poisonous species mixed in that shit because they're not identifying properly, yada yada, whatever. So anyway, it was a wild experience, man. My buddy came in. I started going through the deja vu once he started like coming in to check on me. He would check on me like every 20 minutes, and I was like, this is the same experience over and over. I'm gonna continue this forever. Holy shit. And every now and then we'd go down and have a cigarette. And that was again the same experience over and over. And so I kept having these thought
You guys burned
loops.
through like a pack of cigarettes and
Oh,
shit.
easily, dude. Yeah. And I kept having to like go out and he'd help me out. And then finally 6 a.m. rolls around. I think we probably took the dose at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or something like that. Like 6 a.m. rolls around. And we
I
finally go
love
out.
Becca's expression.
We go sit in my car to like smoke a doobie. We're not driving, by the way, guys. We just sit in my car to smoke a doobie because you can't smoke anywhere in the dorms. You know, you can basically try to smoke in the park.
Now they'll snitch on you immediately.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we go sit in my car to smoke a joint. And I'm like, dude, that was insane. And like during it, I'm like, this is crazy. I'm never fucking dosing again. This is insane. While I'm coming down, I'm still now I'm actually having a nice. Now I'm having a trip, and now I'm having the come out, and now I'm having the actual ego disillusion, and all of the other stuff started happening. And I was like, wow, life is beautiful. This experience was incredible. I'm never taking the mind for granted ever, and I'm never taking drugs for granted. I'm not taking any substances for granted. That experience alone probably prevented me from like doing hard drugs my entire life. And I was like early college, you know what I mean? Because I was like,
interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
it was wild, man. I was coming out of it. And it was like 6 months. We were probably catching sunrise or something. Like, and it was just, and it was just fan fucking tastic at that moment. After the hell that I had gone through and the purgatory that I experienced, the 6 hour trip felt like 25 hours, 30 hours, you know what I mean? Maybe longer. It was an entire lifetime, you know what I mean? And now I, every now and then I still have those experiences like, wow, am I going to wake up one day and be like 14 years old? Am I still going to wake up and like come out of this trip? Like every now and then I have those like dissolved thoughts, but I know that that's just my awareness opened up. I understand reality, and like I'm obviously the age that I am, and this is where we are. But at the same time, it's then all of those weird like you'd start to be able to understand weird movies all of a sudden. Now everything starts to like make connections, from this one little trip. It just really all kind of blew my mind, if you will. Yeah. Man. It was mind changing, and it wasn't. I did some psilocybin here and there, but it really wasn't until like I had taken LSD before I really felt like calm, before I felt more of like a change of.
Yeah, that was 30 years ago for me.
Was it?
That. Yeah, 30.
Yeah, and when I did find that, I was like, wow, this is much more of a happier, brighter type of experience,
no, because mushrooms were all headspace. Even as a kid, dude, they were headspace.
Yes.
It was like you would get mild tracers and shit, like you'd get like the goofy weird the pattern behind me be like, like looking through a screen of
yeah.
but LSD was like
vibrant, colorful. LSD is very colorful,
just
and vibrant,
happy, dude.
Yeah, just much more of a happy. And I'm curious about that. I'm curious if it has something to do with the synthesis of it. It has something to do with the molecular structure of it, and
yeah, like mushrooms can give me the smiles, but like LSD gives you like the Joker, like the Julia Roberts style smile of like, holy shit, dude, this fucking hurts my face kind of smile.
And it can also like speed up your thoughts where you can articulate better and all kinds of things. So let's get into this.
Are we on this paper yet?
Okay. Yeah, we are. I told that crazy trip story.
We're gonna come back to the anxiety still, or we already covered that now? We can check that off.
That's my anxiety.
Okay.
I have anxiety. today, you know, obviously the pandemic and some other shit, jobs that I've had, very fast pace, things like that.
Major life changes, you know, like leaving work and shit. And that's a
Quitting
big fucking
jobs,
deal, dude. Yeah.
getting into fights with friends, family, things like that, just random stuff like that.
Uncoolness.
Friends, family, being thieves, just shit like that, you know. Over the years, yeah, you know, just kind of tweaks you a little bit. And so I did take a hiatus of psychedelics for about 10 years. And I'm curious if that also like ramped up my anxiety to the point, you know, to where now that I'm regularly, I'd say, consuming or micro
Can I speculate something?
anxiety is just like chill. Go ahead.
My speculation would be, I think that the red setter of 2022 is in such a better headspace, such even from the time that we've known each other. I feel like you've become much stronger, much more articulate and able to really explain things. And I know somebody out there is going to laugh about that.
Possibly.
But the thing that red always can do is articulate some shit. So I think that if you were to be able to leave your, I would say, preconceived notions of what the trip or experience would or could be, you kind of just have to, I don't know, man. You know what? I think the reason that I had such a great experience the very first time with LSD for me was because I was grateful. And it wasn't about, I was grateful that I had LSD. It was, I was grateful for where I was at in my life and like where things were headed. And so like it amplified all of that. And it just made me feel amazing. And it was life-changing because like, you know, that was like the army and shit. And you're like, oh, this is quite a bit of different thinking. And, you know, and then that shit affected me. And then gave me depression.
You home from the army, or were you, was this
I was on
Army
leave.
experience?
I was on leave.
You were
yeah.
on leave.
Yeah.
Overseas, somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I had come back to the States for a month. So it worked out really well. The problem is that then it changed the way that I looked at myself. It changed the way that I looked at my job. It changed the way that I looked at my interactions. Yeah. And so what I wanted to make a career, because trust me, Skilbo would have been a hell of a soldier for a really long time because I'm laid back enough at it that I was good at it without becoming like the mega prick or like the abusive person or anything else. I was like the laid back kind of like, hey, I'll do my job until, you know, 1600 or whatever fucking time it's done. And then I'm going to go, you know, party. But then I'll be back and then we'll get it again. But the problem is that it made me look at everything differently. So it really gave me a change in my life, a complete change in direction, which was scary at the time. You know, because I had thought that I had this whole thing planned out in front of me and everything was going to be cool. And then I zigged off of that because of my experiences. Yes. But I've learned that I am much happier with the person that I am today than I think I would have been the eventual person that I would have probably become if I'd have even come this far, because realize that I would have like, you know, okay, I got lucky the first time around in the desert. But what would have been like the 7th time or the 8th time or the fucking 11th time? Eventually, you're like tempting fate, man.
Yep.
And you already don't believe in this shit anymore anyway. So, like, what are you fucking doing? That's that heavy shit where mushrooms come in and really can, like, you know what? LSD and mushrooms are very similar and yet very different. I see in chat we're talking about one's organic and one is not. One is synthetic. Okay, I get you and I got you. But I think that for me, and not just for me, but for a lot of other people, that it's a great 1-2 fucking punch, man. Oh, life's getting you down? Pow, let's try this one. Here, take this. Oh, you're having a hard time processing shit? Okay, pow, try this one. And just those 2 pivot points can really, really go a long way to helping you go a really, really long way. Can I get a yeah, man?
Yeah, man. Yeah. And that right there was the perfect pivot point for me to actually get into the intro. Boom,
Run it.
boom, 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 boom. Because, man, most people think that those like little bits, you know, you're searching for what's going to help you. Most people think that is like the drug abuse or something like that, right? Because
Cheers,
they're conditioned through, we could say the war on drugs and many other bits of propaganda,
propaganda, yeah,
to believe that all drugs are manufactured and designed, all drugs are bad, and that they are designed and manufactured to cause harm. With that is not true at all. Most drugs have a purpose for research. In fact, all drugs have a purpose for research. All these, what would they be? Compounds, okay? The compounds of molecules.
and they sometimes were found to be something at first, and it was something else, or they were found in the pursuit of a different thing to do something.
Exactly. And you know, the DARE programming and the war on drugs programming and all that teaches clandestine chemists, okay, doing like creating sinister products, right?
You're really into that word right now. Huh?
No,
sinister.
I was searching for it.
Clandestine.
Why?
You said it like 3 times now.
I said it like
what
once.
is it?
Red.
Why are you calling me out? I was
Sorry, what does it
prepping
mean?
earlier. I was
What does it
prepping
mean?
for this intro. I have a pre-recorded intro going, and she just called me out, guys. Oh man.
I love it. Hey,
No,
Red.
what does it mean?
Clandestine means like underground.
It's
underground.
yeah, undercover.
Mysterious.
Clandestine's not known
like bad
to be.
Okay, play.
Okay,
so
thank you.
Here,
Okay,
Red,
so
check it
anyways.
out. The war on drug is so hard.
He did it this time.
Painted Lady is here, and so Sequence is a victim of the war on drugs right now. He
100%.
is being forced to take a urinalysis test with a medical card.
With a medical card, yeah.
For something that he uses medically. I mean, he's my dude, but I mean, he does need the shit. He's banged up, and he definitely uses it for pain relief.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he's suffered for the last month without his medicine, and he's got to go through this. Why? Because of the silly war on drugs.
War on drugs,
which is funded by whom? These fucking companies that are searching for these things originally, and then saying, "Oh, wow, that's illegal."
Yeah, man. Yeah, you get a yeah, man for that. And so, if we get into the history, okay, we can talk about this article a little bit, all right, because we're going to go pre-20th century just for a moment. We're not going to get into the city and mysteries. We're not going to get into we're not going to get into the stoned ape, and we're not going to get into like deep mescaline research and all this stuff. Okay, we're not going to get.
Those are such fun topics, but not now.
We had this interesting article that popped up that you shared and Sequence Bull shared from Reddit, and it had to do with these children that were found with these sacrificed remains of children. Okay, we're going to talk about human sacrifice for a second.
Did you read the comments?
I wanted to icebreaker this. I did. Yeah. Some of the comments were very interesting. And the article was suggesting that they were using ayahuasca on the children, ayahuasca and mescaline and cocaine and some other things on the children as antidepressants specifically. Now, other people were suggesting that they were just using them to, you know, dope them up.
To increase the terror.
Increase the terror.
I seen that one. It was like, well, they probably did this to increase the terror. I was like, oh my God, that's a horrible.
An interesting one. I didn't see that one.
I didn't see that one coming either.
They found remains.
They
had traces of these things in their system.
Yes. So traces
DMT,
of DMT, and so they assumed the DMT was ayahuasca.
They were given this drink, ayahuasca, before as part of the ritual,
within a couple of weeks,
before they were sacrificed.
For a couple of weeks before they were sacrificed. And the sacrifice is a known.
Cheers, Raptor. LG Drove Grow.
Capacocha. Pardon my Midwestern accent on this one, but Capacocha is the human sacrifice. Yeah, I suppose. My northern
Red
accent on this one.
It's capybara.
Capybara. Yeah.
Do you know what a capybara is?
That's an animal.
Yes.
Chupacabra. That's an animal.
The chupacabra.
It's a blood-sucking animal. Sounds sacrificial to me. So the article I saw. So if God, jeez, just try. Yeah, this ritual. It's a human sacrifice ritual. And so they're finding coca, mescaline, DMT, ayahuasca, in their bodies. And so, there's that's a wild one, Skilbo. The other ones that they were being used as antidepressants. In my mind, I'm thinking that the entire community ritualistically were using it. And obviously their remains weren't found probably until, later, until they were sacrificed at some point or something like that else happened. But I'm sure that like everybody was probably using it as if my theory is that they were all using it in conjunction as a form of communication. And
they know that it was sacrifice?
Well, yeah, the sacrifices were definitely happening. That's the ritual.
Sure
that's the capacocha.
Okay.
And I think I misspoke because we were talking about Incans and I mentioned about Aztecs because the Aztec things, because the Aztecs did sacrifices too. They would be the ones that would want to increase the terror.
And the Mayans as well. And I'm sure that they were all using ayahuasca and psilocybe mushrooms. And
don't get me started on 2012, Red.
And mescaline and all this stuff. And the devil's advocate's going to say, well, if everybody just starts taking that shit, are we just going to have a bunch of cannibals and sacrifices occurring today? No, I don't think that's what's going to happen. Right. This was, I think that they were honestly trying to communicate with the gods, and this was their indigenous culture. This is what happened. This is what they were doing.
If I had to theorize, I would say maybe that it was used in preparation as part of a purification, since it wasn't offering to a god, that it would be a positive experience, that you wouldn't want to, unless you had an angry god, you wouldn't want the kind of angry god that wants you to have like crazy sacrifices.
Yeah. I don't think it was like that either.
I don't know.
I think that they were all trying to communicate.
They knew something we didn't, is what I feel.
The whole human sacrifice thing is a wild thing though. Got some shouts out movie Apocalypto. That is a good movie. That's a fucking excellent movie.
I don't know what that one is.
Wild movie, dude. I don't think it's in English at all.
I don't give a shit.
No. So you'd either have to read the subtitles or something. It's like a subtitle movie, but it's fantastic. It's about I can't really explain too much in depth, but it's basically about maybe a Mayan or Aztec child who is basically about his life trying to, like, I can't remember if he's escaping or what he's doing, but some shit happens. It's like slavery, like escaping the sacrifice.
One of my big things is that I've always been like this huge history buff, man. Like, I love that shit. And one thing that I love about history is when you start to realize what was going on congruent with whatever you're thinking about. You know what I mean? And so you think of like, oh, we're talking about, the Incan Empire. It's like the 12 to 1400s. It's not that long ago. I mean, it is, but it's not. Right?
Yeah, it's not that long ago at all. Not at all in the grand scheme of things, and how long, like, when you, like, honestly, man, I do have those beliefs that human history goes back way further than what the books say. You know what I mean? That there was other cataclysmic events that took out even advanced civilizations that may have even been older than 10, 15, 20,000 years old. You know what I was
just watching a thing this week on it. It was talking about how, like a lot of people know the breadcrumb of Göbekli Tepe, right? And it's really cool. Yeah. But if you watch some things on it, they make it appear as though it appears out of nowhere, and that this whole thing is just like plop right in the middle and holy shit, right? But it's actually not, because when you look around the entire area of Turkey, you have multiple sites that are very, very similar to, and yet older than what you're seeing with the T-stone pillars. Like, I was watching a thing, anybody that wants to know, it's called Ancient Architects, and it's on YouTube here. There's a bunch of episodes. It talks about all kinds of cool shit, which is just like that, Ancient Architects. So it goes all around the world. He's got a bunch of shit on the pyramids, a bunch of stuff on Peru and Bolivia. So really good stuff. interesting channel.
And so the reason that I bring up the Inca thing, is mainly because it's a shared.
If I could go anywhere, Red, like anywhere in the world, I would definitely go to fucking Peru, just because it's so crazy looking to me. All of it.
Oh, all of the
so different, so just wild.
All the
man.
greenery, all the green. Yeah, and the. So, anyways, the mescaline. All right, is kind of what I was going to get into first, and that's kind of why I was talking about South America.
You were telling me that they've been using it for thousands of years, not just like 150.
Mescaline?
Yeah.
Okay. Mescaline's one of the ancient traditions, certainly. I don't know a whole ton about it, okay, but I know that the was it the San Pedro cactus? San Pedro is a Spanish name for like huachule or something like that. I could be mixing that up with something else. I hope I'm not mixing that up with something else, but it's, pardon if I am. So Aldous Huxley talks about the mescaline user in his book. Aldous Huxley took mescaline in 1953. Now we know this is 10 years after LSD had been synthesized. But that doesn't mean that research wasn't being done on mescaline. I'm not sure exactly when the research kicks off with mescaline, but they were doing psychological research. In the 1940s, it probably kicked off with and around the same time as the synthesis of LSD, because that's when the main research with LSD was beginning to occur, which would have been in the 1942.
I mean, try to think about this for a minute, Red. Like
time range.
Me growing up in the early 1970s and shit, right? Like from whatever experiences you had, you grew up knowing about, what a hallucinogenic was. You may not know the fancy terminology and shit, but you knew what acid was. You understood the concept of like, man, it makes you see crazy shit. But imagine being like from an earlier era, like pre-hippie explosion of all this shit coming out, and somebody approaching you and being like
propaganda.
Hey, we want you to be part of a study, and here's what we're going to do. Check this out.
And that was most certainly occurring. That was most certainly occurring with substances such as mescaline and LSD.
How do you prepare somebody for that or explain it?
I couldn't imagine, man, because they were using unknown doses at times.
They don't have any kind of basis on what this is supposed to be.
Well,
imagine having a 500 times normal, what you would consider now normal, like, hey, it's 150 micrograms.
Yeah.
So imagine 500 times that dose.
Yeah. Well, fortunately,
you can't eyeball it.
Fortunately, people like Albert Hoffman had his measured instruments, who was able to calculate a 250 microgram dose, but we don't know how much his first dose was on the 16th. Whatever that dose was that he first got the squiggle.
Yeah, Becca.
You're right over there.
It's got her. Give her the water, man.
You're good.
Give her a hand.
No, you're good. She wants a coffee. She's good.
Yeah.
She wanted me to mute, so you guys didn't hear.
It was a moment of silence for her.
Moment of silence for her there. Yeah.
I had to move away.
So what I'm going to get into real fast.
We're going to get to anything real fast at 9:58.
I'm going to do the whole history thing in the second half, because the first half was the intro, naturally.
This wasn't a history. I thought we learned so much history, though.
Not yet. We haven't even touched the history. History is just. I'm still on. We just finished Incas. Look at that. That's the Incas. That's it. We still got 1953. Aldous Huxley takes his voyage. Okay, his mescaline voyage, and so in the Doors of Perception, he talks about anxiety. This is why I was talking about anxiety a little bit, because he talks about how under the influence of mescaline, like one wouldn't be able to notice that somebody was fucked up on mescaline or on that drug, because they would be able to have a conversation and articulate and talk and go through the
really?
normal. Yeah. And the mind is going crazy, the mind's going A-word and wherever, but his reference is off of a calibrated dose of 400 milligrams. He says 0.4 of a gram,
which would be how many micrograms?
400 milligrams.
400 milligrams.
Mescaline, yeah. So mescaline can't fit on blotter paper, mind you. Okay, so you're not going to get dosed with mescaline on blotter.
So you just eat little pieces of the cactus?
I'd imagine you can eat little. That's when you eat peyote buttons.
Hashtag.
You just would be eating peyote buttons and eating the cacti.
That's how you eat mescaline?
Most of the time.
Or do they synthesize it also?
It's mescaline synthesized, and you eat, and you're getting like mescaline sulfite or something like that. You get this synthesized version, but I'm sure that they're still possibly using the cacti as a precursor.
Dude, I'm telling you, I seen that guy that was selling fucking San Pedros. Yeah. And and the only thing that made me available now. Yeah, the only thing that made me leery is for a moment, and I'm not sure because my drug history is lacking in things that I haven't experienced. So to me, it was like, oh, is this the one that you have to fucking puke off of? I can't remember.
It'll make you expel your demons, man. Yeah. Yeah. And in doing so, you're getting rid of all of your toxins and negative energy and things like that. It cleanses you.
It's like ayahuasca. There's no easy way to get to it. You either have to drink this horrible liquid that tastes terrible, apparently, and then empties you from all ends, right? Or you have to smoke this shit that's like burning fucking plastic tar. Holy shit, this stuff burns. This burns. Try to hold this for as long as you can. And hope like hell that you got enough of it that you can have the experience that you're looking for.
Which only
and not be perpetually stuck in, like the quote unquote waiting room.
That's only 10 or 15 minutes. And you could be in the waiting room. Yeah.
Yes.
Smoking the DMT. Right.
Whereas drinking ayahuasca is apparently a multi-hour experience.
Similarly to
long.
Yeah, like 6-8 hours.
6-8 hours. Yeah, like psilocybin.
But they say that you can go down and you can do ayahuasca tours. We're talking about Peru and shit. If you go down there, you can find people that, are widely will take you and give you the experience you're looking for. Red, you met that one dude that came into the store one time. Remember, he was running that place.
Yeah, he had a spot. That wasn't in Peru though. He was in
where the fuck was that?
Yeah, maybe he was in Peru. Maybe it might have been Peru.
Somebody have to go back on the way back to find out where we talked about
South
that.
America somewhere. Yeah, he was back there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we pulled up his webpage. We pulled up his villa, the whole thing. Showed it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it was like a private thing that you had to go work out your own shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you didn't have to worry about somebody.
It's a light-proof yurt, basically.
Cheers, Hoopy.
He's got a light-proof yurt, and he feeds you for a week or 3 days or however long it is. And I go, so is this like an ayahuasca session or something? He goes, well, ayahuasca grows on the property, and he's like being all bouncing around the topic, but he's like telling me what it is without telling me what it is, so I'm like, all right, you got your ducks in a row. Kinda. So it was very interesting. He's got a webpage and everything. Who knows if it's a scam, but yeah, I met the dude. Very, very interesting. So I mean, they're being ran. They're being ran also by Americans. It's not just indigenously or culturally ran by people in Peru, but there are.
My thing is for that is that it's very, very widely available on how easy it is for you to do an extraction of your own, and you can buy all the ingredients that you need online, and some things are available on eBay, some things are available
in those. I think.
What's that?
I think cautions in brewing your own ayahuasca, though. You really have to be precise.
No, I'm talking about just doing like a DMT extraction.
Gotcha.
Not the actual drinkable death.
Yeah. The actual drinkable,
right? Then you pour it in the Pyrex and you evaporate it. Yeah. Then you scrape it. Yeah. Then
you're talking about the DMT. Yeah. Okay.
I'm talking about the DMT itself. If that's what you're looking for, and you can't afford to fly down to Peru just on, like willy-nilly, you don't have the wherewithal. I feel you. I'm the same way.
Yeah. Those recipes are out there for sure.
They are out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen it as like a cool gift one time. It was like a fucking 3-minute long one. Just did the whole thing. Just kept playing over and over. I was
you
like, oh shit, okay, let me write this down real quick. What this dude's doing.
Rhubarb or something like that. You get many different kinds of rhubarb, and those recipes are definitely out
mimosa
there.
bark. Thank you, Jason. That's what it was.
Mimosa hostilis, I think, is
one. Yeah, that's it. Hostilis. I wonder why it's got the name hostile in it.
And
angry.
I think some of it can grow native. I don't think that it's all like imported, and I think that it can be grown and harvested and farmed ethically. You might want to look into your sourcing on all of your mimosa. I don't know if we want to eradicate the jungles on
I think you're just buying a bag of fucking bark basically from somebody. Yeah. And then you do your own work with it.
Yeah. I think that it's farmed.
Well, the person that I got it from was like, dude, I have enough for a fucking lifetime. It was like, I got this whole jar. He said, and it's all suspended in this fucking jar. He said, if I want more, all I have to do is pour a little bit of this off into this Pyrex thing, let it evap off, and then I go again. And he's like, you realize how much is left in this big ass jar.
So there's a purging process, and again, that's synthetic. You're basically synthesizing. Well, you're
doing like a tincture. It's almost like an RSO in the sense of you're somehow reducing what you were able to extract, much like I have this.
Yeah.
So it's very much like he would have this, right, and it would be full. And then he would just pour some of this off. Shout out to Dankovic.
That's your tincture,
but there's
right?
a couple other chemical agents that you got to use.
Yeah. No, this isn't at the coffee stage. This is at the. Oh, come on, camera. I got too much.
There's a secondary separation. So
there we go.
There's a little bit of chemistry. I don't know if it really be chemistry. Is it chemistry if you're just doing a simple separation? I don't know. What is it? Tell me in chat, guys. I'm not a chemist, so.
You're still trying to figure out.
I don't know. I'm stupid as shit, so I'm not even gonna speak up like I know anything.
It's funny.
I can't make that stuff. So I probably could if I tried to figure it out, but I'm not making it. So let's
Here's
see.
chat.
The other thing that they were doing a lot of research on between the 1940s and the 1950s was schizophrenia.
With some really wild fucking treatment ideas. Remember, it was only 20 years before this. They were still taking an ice pick and fucking hammering it through people's noses to give them, the prefrontal lobotomies and shit.
And the optical lobotomy.
Yeah.
Those ones.
Remember, it was on this show we were talking about.
Well, that could be fiction, but yeah.
Becca remembers everything, and I love it, man. It makes us seem like we fucking.
Which show?
Remember the TV show we watched?
Yeah.
What was that about from?
That was from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Written by Ken Kesey. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Well, we watched the show.
Oh, you watched the movie finally? So you know who Big Chief is?
No, not the movie. We watched the prequel. Whatever the nurse's name is.
Ratchet.
Oh, Ratchet. Nurse Ratchet. Okay.
There's a show called Ratchet. And it talks about
shock therapy. Yeah, Jason.
And the doctor undergoes accidentally gets dosed 4,000 micrograms, which is like 4 sheets of L25.
Baby, come back.
Yeah, baby, come back.
No, he tried. He was dosing
we can't spoil it. We can't spoil it.
Oh, it's just a show.
People might.
Dude, there are literally 36 people watching, and I have it open on my phone, so it's your secret's safe.
Anyway,
dude, we're stoners and trippers. We won't remember, promise, unless it's Becca, because she'll remember everything.
So they bring it up in the first episode.
I actually have a terrible memory.
When it comes to these shows for callbacks and shit, you're pretty good.
Okay.
But that was
Red. What's on the list?
We're trying here.
It's 10:08. Goddamn.
Good God. Well, that's the thing. It's schizophrenia, right? Holy shit.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
That's what mescaline was talking about.
Good job bringing it back.
Mescaline. The mescaline research was
These notes are helping.
Basically getting through schizophrenia research. They were trying to.
How?
Dude, honestly, they were comparing the effects of somebody who is under the effects of mescaline with somebody who has schizophrenia.
Really?
And so then they were saying, well, if we take mescaline, then we might be able to connect with the schizophrenic on the same wavelength. So let's take so the therapists themselves were taking schizophrenic, but we're taking psychedelics.
Mescaline.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the MK Ultra where they were signing people up to take.
Would this be
mescaline.
before or after
I'm talking
MK
about
Ultra?
the actual doctors themselves were doing the research. This I'm talking about the actual research of these chemicals, not the CIA shit and all this other shit. Not all the conspiracy. I'm talking about actual doctor pharmaceutical research on substances like mescaline sulfate, which was synthesized mescaline. They weren't munching on cacti or anything like this. By the 1940s, they were synthesizing mescaline and using it on themselves to have the same type of mental awareness or acuity that a schizophrenic patient would. Okay. And this is where the first writings of schizophrenia.
So is this where the anxiety comes in?
Well, no, the anxiety comes in to where what Aldous Huxley was talking about. Somebody with acute anxiety is more likely to have bad trips.
Yeah.
So
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So
we all know that one person that we're like, ooh, I don't know if it would be right for you, man. You might want to just take a quarter dose or some shit, man.
The point being, this information has existed since the early 1950s. This information is in Doors of Perception from 1954. So he did his dose in 53 and talks about and records all of this and then rewrites it all into his book. But basically, he's talking about somebody who has a calm attitude and who is not under stress or pressure has these mescaline experiences with great ease. Like they're just easy to go through. Like they have beautiful experiences. They're able to like come out of it and overcome and like do good things with their lives and like, you know, be articulate in these things. And he says that, you know, it doesn't dumb you down or anything like that. He's talking very highly of mescaline in the Doors of Perception. And the one bad thing he does talk about is the terrifying. He says that for a moment that he felt that he had some terrifying, you know, fears or something, but there other people do have the terrors and the fears. And that is.
Do you think that a trip sitter can help for that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Set and setting. Yeah. And dose as well. You know, you have to include dose into the set and setting thing. So we don't know effective doses like that.
You know what I want to know? I don't know if the science exists for it. Is there a limit on dosage? Meaning like we've all heard of the person, you know, or been the person that's, hey, I've taken a 5, I've taken a 10.
Like the 4,000 microgram doctor.
Yeah, I wonder if there is an upper limit to something like that, or if the trip gets to a certain point that it's just, I just don't even know.
I think
it can only last for so long. It's not like if you take more, it's going to last longer. So come right out of the gates with like, dude, it's going to be cool.
Yeah,
it's going to be cool.
Be at most a 24-hour ride. Yeah, I think it's at most 24-hour. And they do talk about now the schizophrenia thing.
Do they use it to help them or does it make them worse?
They were trying to use it to help schizophrenics. Okay. And I think that in turn, possibly again, set and setting, depending on the conditioning that they're giving these patients, could help them and could make it worse. Right. So I think that it's all going to depend on the actual clinical,
the psyche itself of the person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What their actual traumas are, what the doses that they're giving them are. That could be individual just the same, but the doctors themselves were doing it to try to kind of like match brain frequency with their patients to try to like see if they could figure it out, or to even try to reverse engineer medication for schizophrenia, stuff like that. Because I'm pretty sure at the time, you know, the Valium and stuff like that's really, they're just dumbing people down, you know. I'm pretty sure that's still what they do today. None of it's really moved. So you get into LSD. It does
just turn it. It is like turning the dial down. It's like
just turn the dial down. Boom. Yeah, turn the dial down. You know, make them forget about a bunch of shit. Dope them up. You know,
but that's not a long-term solution. That can be something that can follow like a major trauma thing. But you can't use that as like, well, I guess you can, but it seems a shame that that's the only route that some people have for any kind of like treatment.
I'm afraid of the dependency.
It's to just be Thorazined out, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm afraid of that dependency that we're good. Now, could you form a dependency to entheogens? Possibly. You form a dependency to cannabis? Possibly. But
Well, you get to the point where it doesn't work. Like I have not taken any blotter since St. Patrick's Day. So I'm trying to wait.
Good chunk of time. It's a good chunk of time.
Yeah, I was trying to wait until Bicycle Day, and then I was like, "Well, that's a month off."
Have you had psilocybin?
Yes.
Going to affect the same receptors. So psilocybin, you're just going to boost your tolerance just the same as psilocybin. It's not a substance thing. It's more of a serotonin receptor thing.
Well, I won't do any more until then.
Yeah.
Then I'll
Till Bicycle Day.
Till Bicycle Day.
Yeah. You might take your little tea break if that's the case. At least for a few days. I mean, psilocybin runs its course in a few days. I mean, you should be all right. Either way, like you do like 2-2-2 rule, whatever it is. It's like 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it is. If you take 2 doses,
I thought you were going to get to 2 years.
Like 2 doses, you need two weeks. If you take 20 doses, you need 2 months. Things like that. So, it's like a 2-2-2 rule. And everything's incremented by 2s, depending on your dose.
Triple deuce.
Yep. If you take a good 20 mics, you might just need 2 days. If you take 200 mics, you might need a couple of weeks. Similarly, might even go with psilocybin. That's if you're chasing a certain effect, right? You're searching this psychedelic experience, whatever it is.
Well, what you would call as like a breakthrough experience. In the sense of like it's no longer a micro dose. Now it's becoming something more. And so I can feel this, right?
This is what happens with, and it happens with psilocybin, but it's easier to explain with using L25. If you take 1 dose today, and you have this experience, you might need 2 doses tomorrow or even 3 to have that same experience. Chase that same experience or get higher. Okay. Or get what you think might be able to get higher. And then if you're like, oh, okay, well, I want the next level from there.
Holy shit, Georgia Grow guy.
You might need 8. You might need 5 or 8. You know what I mean? And then if you want to chase that from there, you might need the 20 or something, and I'm not saying to do this. This isn't recommended dosage. I'm saying that this is how fast the tolerance, especially if you're doing this every day or once a week or something like that. That's how heavy the tolerance plays on you. And it takes a while for your receptors.
I think there's an upper limit to that too, though. I think if you tried to hit yourself in the eyes with the mystical mallet of a mucho macro dose.
I just spilled weed everywhere.
Oh.
Flung it all.
What are you rolling up?
Some flow. Keep the chatty flow going. Chatty Cathy flow.
I had this Ghost OG last time. That's nice. This got me in the pocket. Slid. Good.
Yeah, nice.
What's going on, chat?
We got we're not.
What's our next thing on?
We're not done. Well, Albert, through the history, we have.
We're moving this time. I was 1017, baby.
Mescaline research kind of coincides with the LSD research, right? The LSD, we have
1950s.
Yeah. So, 1943, Albert Hofmann did the first.
Yes.
250 microgram.
And you said like 53 was mescaline?
No. That was just Aldous Huxley. They were doing mescaline. Mescaline was, long. They had known about mescaline in the late 1800s, right?
Hey, man, I'm just trying to learn.
1800, early 1900s, mescaline was known. Similarity to psilocybin. Okay. White people weren't really allowed to use these substances, right? We didn't have access to them. We just knew that they existed. All right.
That Gordon Wasson that went down there? In the 1950s,
Gordon Wasson,
Maria Sabina.
Gordon Wasson. This was now in 1963. Now in 1963, we have Maria Sabina, and she was the healer and the shaman, of course, and she was the first to introduce the psilocybin mushroom to white people, and that Gordon Wasson was in fact the first white man allowed to partake in that journey, and he actually was the one that introduced Franz Toxier to Albert Hofmann, and was able to get samples through Franz Toxier, was able to get psilocybin psilocybin mushrooms to Albert Hofmann. That way, Albert Hofmann could then first synthesize psilocybin in 1963. I think I have it on here as well. So Albert Hofmann not only first synthesized LSD, but he also first synthesized psilocybin. So in that time, therapists were using all of these psychedelic substances, mescaline sulfide, LSD, now psilocybin, and they were using them for psychology. They were using them for antidepressants, PTSD, all the same stuff that we talk about using it for today. They were doing research on it back in the 1940s and 1950s, and they were having successful results with a lot of it. They were still trying to get dosage and things figured out. But you see, when Huxley wrote Doors of Perception, he knew to take 400 milligrams of mescaline. They already had dosages fairly administered and figured out. Hoffman was able to describe the effects of 250 micrograms. And now, mind you, in the 1940s, Huxley also says the safety profile of mescaline. Hoffman talks about the safety profile of LSD. Known chemists to known what the safety profiles of these are. They say that these things are harmless to the actual human physiological nature of the human body itself. You can't overdose on these substances, right? You can have a challenging experience in the mind, but then Huxley gets into acute anxiety and things like that is basically the hardest part, right? You get into then there's it was Roger Heim sent the sample. He specifically sent the samples to Franz Toxier. And then it's also this time that the CIA, now we can talk about that little bit of stuff, Skilbo, because the MK Ultra experiments were going on at this time. So this gets back to the topic of last week, whenever we were talking about Ken Kesey. And,
yes.
And when he went and had his little run-in with the CIA experiments, when he got invited, was a Stanford University, or whichever university they were doing that out of. So now the CIA is interested in psilocybin because the information is going around the world, right? Albert Hoffman's getting this. So what was going on was Sandoz in Switzerland. Okay, Switzerland comes back around later, but here in Switzerland, they were manufacturing LSD in mass quantities, sending it all over the world in vials marked Delicid. I believe that they were 10 milligram vials.
Did you say
Delicid, yeah. And I think they were 10 milligram LSD vials, 100 drops or whatever they were in them, and they were going out for research, almost free of charge to therapists and whoever could get their hands on them.
We
right, dude? Who knows?
Cheers, Stoney.
And might as well do a whole cheers chat and all the. I keep seeing people popping in. It's cool. Everybody's we're basically just getting started with this history lesson. Holy shit,
we're keeping it on track.
Still in the 50s. Yeah, we kind of are though.
So there's new information. You're passing on new information from the lore.
There's
it's
well,
cool,
the lore of all that propaganda, right? That because the lore is all these drugs were designed in some clandestine basement. I'm using this word again because you like it.
Fourth time.
Yeah, because some dude
you gotta become the five
chemicals.
Some
dudes down here mixing chemicals. It just isn't the case. I want people to understand that between the years,
they're not just shaking bottles.
Yeah, from 19 basically 40 until 1970, there was tons of research being done on these experiments, including research by the government, which doesn't help the situation because they made the situation worse in many, many, many ways, including high dose, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, who knows what other clinicals were being done, right? Lots of research was being done.
They used it how, Red? How did they use it? The CIA? Clandestinely.
Sinisterly. That was the sinister approach to it.
Malevolently.
Malevolent. That's a good word too. I was searching for the word, and
he's got a new one for you,
Becca. And Becca threw it at me, and I was like, and I think
malevolently.
Malevolent was one of them as well. I was
sinister.
Yeah.
Sinister. Yeah.
So what's another word for bad?
Nefarious.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I get you both now one time.
Skilbo will come with the good ones here.
Zingers.
So during this time, okay, there's good research going on, right? There's still good research going on, but also during this time, we have people like Timothy Leary, okay, and we have the MK Ultra experiments going on. Now, Leary was like the turn on, tune in, drop out. Let's dose everyone. Not really dose everyone with LSD. Maybe he did. I don't know. But he wanted everybody to get dosed, basically. So you have all of this stuff going on. But what you also have going on under the curtain of the name LSD is we have analogs. Would you like to join? But all these analogs coming online. Okay. Now, what are analogs? Analogs are like, let's say you have LSD. Well, let's say you move a molecule, a hydrogen atom or a carbon atom on the LSD molecule, and now you have 1P LSD, or you have iso LSD, or whatever it is, just like what we do with cannabis, where they have Delta 8 has been around since the 60s, guys. All of these different analogs of THC have already been synthesized by Dr. Raphael Mechoulam many, many, many years ago. We're going to get
He's the first guy I ever heard of with the studies in Israel. Yeah.
Because what ends up happening here is we have all of these analogs, but you have researchers such as Dr. Mechoulam in 1964 synthesizes THC. Now I'm going to get into Sasha Shulgin here for a second, because Sasha Shulgin in PCAL, Alexander Shulgin in PCAL talks about how people like Dr. Raphael Mechoulam and other chemists and physicists, people like that, chemists, were using terpenes, botanical terpenes, rosemary, thyme oil, things like that, and moving structures and creating tetrahydrocannabinol. They were able to synthesize
so
THC.
Quick with it, Red.
They were able to synthesize things like THC, Delta 8, all these other things out of terpenes. They were like using terpenes and all these strange things, changing structures. Like, this is chemistry, guys. It's wild. You can basically take whatever amount of hydrogen and carbons and restructure them, and given the right,
how do you do that?
I have no idea.
We're not chemists.
I just imagine
we're not chemists. We're not chemists. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if they're using centrifuges or maybe using temperature differences. Who knows?
Just think of it like sea monkeys, Red. You just add water and it happens.
Just add water, man. Just add water. You add
or those
water
little dinosaur
before the
things
base
and shit.
or after
Yeah, those
the
90s
base.
things.
Probably by adding other things too.
So yeah. So with some chemistry, they can basically change the structure of these things and create substances. So 1964, THC is isolated, but so is tons of other analogs of even cannabinoids. It's during that time that things like Delta 8 and other cannabinoids, obviously Delta 9 has been, but these are synthetics. These are synthetics that are even THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, and this is being synthesized. And they were able to match it up with, the cannabis plant. Let's see here. Alexander Shulgin's mostly known for MDMA, which comes a little bit later in his practice, like a little bit later in the 70s, if you will, I guess, if we're still in the 60s. But Shulgin was still working with, at least he mentions, I'm not sure if he was directly working with Mechoulam or if he was just going off of his work. He may have just been interested in his work. And so you have that kind of like connection there. But what you do have is MDMA, we're going to backtrack chronologically, was actually synthesized in 1912. Unknown on who it was synthesized by, but it was a German pharmaceutical company, Merck. I don't know if it's
Merck.
an acronym, but Merck.
No,
yeah.
It's like the people of the Merck manual fame. It's MERCK, right?
So MDMA has the history of being synthesized for a blood clotting agent. Okay, they wanted to stop bleeding. So MDMA, again, non-clandestine dude sitting in the basement. This was something created in a laboratory to stop bleeding. Okay, again, shelved because it didn't work. Somebody like Shulgin or somebody understood the effects of it, went back to it because it was a methyl. I think it's methamphetamine.
That's been around for a while. That was the bro.
Methamphetamine or something like that. Method dioxide, methamphetamine. I can't remember what the D on that is, but it's some methamphetamine. It's an amphetamines. But yeah, it's been around forever, and it's been around as ecstasy since like the 80s. You know, in the early.
But isn't it like not something you find anymore? Isn't it always like an analog now?
Nowadays, it's
Now it's
mostly.
Molly.
Nowadays, it's Molly. Molly's
That's more common.
It's methylone. Is the technical term for the analog that's typically pushed out as Molly, methylone, or sometimes 2CI and 2CB and some of those other like phenyethylene compounds that were synthesized initially by Shulgin. Shulgin did a lot of recreations.
So that's like the 70s we're talking about now?
We're talking the 70s. Yeah, 70s, he kind of brought out MDMA. Okay. And lo and behold, this is also when the war on drugs kind of kicks in. All right. So we have the war on drugs basically in its prime. War on drugs, heavy, no research, nothing, mandatory minimums, 1970 to about 2000. Well, we could even go as little as 1996 and say that the proposition, Prop 52. Yeah, dude, people in California are going to hate me.
Goddess of the Moon says 3,4-methyl any dioxyl methamphetamine.
There it is. Methylene dioxymethamphetamine. That was close. So yeah. Prop 42. God, what is it? Prop 42 or something. Prop 41. I can't remember which it was there in California.
Sea monkeys would be beneficial as an IPM. I think they could fucking really tackle the spider mites, bro.
They just need to add water, man.
Just add water.
Just add water.
If you're already dealing with humidity, fuck it. Set a whole bunch of flying sea monkeys in there.
Just add the water.
Seize them, my pretties.
We do have the war on drugs, and we got a blackout on research during this time. So
some Nancy Reagan years, man.
Yeah. So
the Richard Nixon years. Yeah.
And what else happens, man? Now they tell us that there's weird people in basements creating these chemicals and forcing our kids in trench coats and.
Well, yeah, now it's all sketchy and you can't just find things out. Like we were talking about mushrooms earlier. Do you realize how fucking hard it would be for you to find out which mushrooms are the magic type that grow in Michigan? Like, where are you going to find that information from? Think you're going to go to the library and just pull out a book on magic mushrooms? You think that's just going to fall out of the fucking racks at you?
Unfortunately, the internet with people sharing
it's pre-internet though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, pre-internet. Yeah, you got nothing.
It's like you just go, well, I don't know, man. Did you try these? Yeah, man, I swear they're good. Okay. I'm taking your word for it.
Yeah.
That's what it used to be like, man.
In most people's opinion of the psilocybin experience, rather than it being the serotonin regulation and things like that, and understand the brain chemistry behind it, is they think that they're being poisoned. They think that they some type of a poisonous mushroom and they're going through some kind of a food poisoning.
So now it becomes terrifying.
Yeah. I'm just being food poisoned for 6 hours. Oh, my stomach hurts, and it becomes terrifying, right? And
am I going to die from these?
There are mushrooms that can kill you though. So there is that like man just has a fear response for mushrooms, like there's a lot of people who don't like mushrooms. And I think it's more for the fear behind that than like it is that they just think that they're gross mushrooms. But they can kill you, they can paralyze you, all kinds of stuff. They can definitely mess you up. They can take your liver away. I know that firsthand from my cousin, and that was him actually trying to get high, trying to have an experience with them. That would suck, man. That would suck if you're like waiting for the experience in an hour. You're like, fucking nothing. Next morning, you're like, fuck, what the fuck? Like I couldn't imagine that, dude. Yeah, no, not cool, man. Like nobody should have to go through that. It's good to be able to safely grow these things, cultivate them, in a safe, clean environment, however you do it, dirty environment, whatever it is, as long as they're able to, you can even cultivate them in your backyard safely, things like that. Again, especially with cubensis. Cubensis, it's kind of difficult to spot an arch nemesis with. But like,
what's an arch nemesis?
Well, like the Liberty cap, for example, the poisonous Liberty cap.
Are you talking about the Amanita? No,
that won't kill you. The arch nemesis of a trip would be something that actually kills you. So like, the death cap mushroom, death cap will kill you.
The fuck your liver up and really do you in shit.
Yeah, and they can be mistaken for Tampanese, the old Tampanese. That's where they're getting them down in Tampa, Sarasota.
Is that why they're called Tampanese?
The whole Gulf Coast sure is, dude. Yeah, damn straight it is. It's a whole strain in itself. They can't like they're talking about crazy. Like not being able to figure it out, but it's like a Tampanese. Yeah, it's like its own like Mexican varietal.
Cheers, Spartan.
Came from. Could have came there naturally, could have came there just off somebody's clothing.
If somebody had spores like that, huh?
Yeah. But who knows, man? They probably came over in the 50s or the 60s.
Gotta like that, man.
Maybe they come over through the relationship with Maria Sabina or something like that. Who knows? They say they come from like the old Oaxacan or
I never know how to pronounce genetics.
That word. I can't either. Again,
OAXC, some other letters, some A's and N's and shit
coming out at you. Yeah. So, but the
Reg, you're getting like multiple compliments on the shirt through chat. You've gotten complimented early in chat, later in chat. Show that out.
The first one was
the Billy
Kazoo because he was there, and the second one is Spartan because he was there.
Excellent.
There you go.
Thanks, guys. Definitely the Billy shirt.
It's a good one.
Shout out Billy.
Has anybody done truffles? I see Hillbilly Herbs talking about Tampanese.
Interesting. Yeah.
I've always wanted to try salvia and fucking truffles.
Well, Skilbo,
like
how you were
talking check marks.
You were talking about truffles, I believe, are psilocybin. I believe truffles are psilocybin and it's a mycelium.
So that shit that I sent you that was the mushrooms that
similar. Yeah.
It's like fruiting mycelium, which I thought was interesting. That's why I shared it.
That's truffles. Those are truffles.
Okay.
They're very popular in Amsterdam and in Europe. Very popular in Europe.
I remember when I was looking for ways to buy syringes to get my hands on these because that wasn't really a big thing in the States yet.
Interesting.
So you would go on these sites and they would sell you either that or you could buy like the salvia packs or, you know what I mean? Like just the different weird shit like that. And the truffles were the other thing that you could buy from them. So interesting shit.
Yeah, real truffles.
Yeah,
like the fungus truffle. Right. Not the
not the weed truffle.
Or
not the truffle shuffle
dessert,
either.
The truffle. Yeah, like you would make a truffle, right? No, like
or like a chocolate truffle.
Right, exactly. No, this is an actual fungus that's called the truffle.
Voles.
I think they might use the fungus in the truffle, maybe, or they
clandestine
make truffle as.
Are they clandestine?
Hallucinogenics? It was a type of.
They're like undercover red.
What clandestine?
They're clandestine.
What's
truffles
that?
are?
Truffles are. Yeah, they totally are.
Are truffles just not another type of mushroom?
Yeah, it's fungus.
Chat's smarter than us tonight. The ones the pigs snuffle. And dogs. Some dogs too.
Same.
They used to use poodles for that.
Black truffles are excellent. Drover Gross says. I like that. Interesting. I've never tried truffles.
It's cooked in a lot of things.
I'd be like, can I microdose with truffles? That'd be my reaction to if somebody had a truffle. I'm still curious about the mescaline thing myself, Skilbo. Again, I want to like take like a cross, like eating a star fruit, like taking a cross section of a star fruit.
Okay.
Take like a cross, maybe like a little cross section,
I got
it in some hot water for maybe
make a tea
couple
or something.
Hours, make a little tea and see what happens. I don't know if it's I think it's water soluble. So
how much? Let's just talk about tea for just a second, since we're still got time to burn on our history.
We got time to burn. Yeah, we're in the 70s now. We're going.
When you're making tea, if you and Becca were gonna enjoy a mushroom tea, How much would you use for that?
Well, wait, what kind of, are we talking a bicycle day dose? Or are we talking like a microdose evening? Are you talking
Feeling.
I'd
What would that be?
probably put a couple grams
A couple
in
grams in.
about
Okay.
in about 16 ounces of water, or maybe like a ball jar or something
And
like
then
that.
do the twice thing.
I'd probably squeeze about a half of a lemon's worth of lemon juice in there, and I'd maybe just let it sit for a little while. In the lemon juice, down on the
Like a
bottom.
lemon
there.
tech sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of. But I'd probably grind it up pretty good. I'd probably toss those shroomies in a coffee grinder and get the surface area exposed a little bit before I squeeze that lemon on there. And then I'd pour some hot water on it, and then I would not too hot, man. I'd take it down to like 180, right? Like a green tea. I'd take it down to like green tea temperature. You don't
Red noses teas.
You don't want to burn up the alkaloids too fast. I'd take it down to like 180, and
which is like tap water hot. Is that what that is?
No, it's hot. It's hot. It's simmering hot. It's almost a rolling boil hot. You're getting there. Like 180, 190, yeah. And I'd probably let that soak for a good 20 minutes, give or take. And then if I'd just drink it, but you may want to filter out, get yourself a little screen filter or something. If you use the coffee grinder, don't go powder.
You can use the little T-ball, man.
If you use a coffee grinder, honestly, the best way to do it is just
coffee grinder,
a knife and a cutting board. Just chop yourself up the mushrooms, little chunks. It doesn't have to be too fine, or you drink it.
Lucas. Either a smoothie hut or a sunglass.
Now we're talking. See, I'm
Could
already
you be a sunglasses guy
in a smoothie, but yeah.
Hey,
yeah, smoothie hut, dude. Yeah. No, Blue Kiss, that could happen in this life. You might see
could still come together.
Yeah. 60 might be the smoothie hut age, I'm thinking.
You guys should have the bicycle, the tandem bicycle that has like the ice cream thing on the front. That has your ninja on there, and
yeah, dude.
Then you have your other ninja that actually does the work. The other one that's not doing the defense thing for you while you're trying to sell these.
We'll do Mackinac Island in the summertime. We'll go down and do.
We have the ninja to make the smoothie, and then you have a ninja to protect you while you make the smoothie.
We'll go down and do.
Can't get rolled for your hard earnings. What?
No, we won't do QS. We'll go down to like Longboat Key or something like that.
Where?
Down a Longboat Key.
What are you talking about?
Go down to the Keys, man. Down to the Keys and
down to the Keys, man. We're gonna get a cigarette boat.
Only for like October, November, December, January, and February, March, maybe April, and then we'll come back up here and we'll go hit up like Mackinac Island for the end of May, for Memorial Day, June, July, August, Labor Day, September. We take a break. Yeah, it's retirement, man. You set up the smoothie bar, man. You sit on the beach. You're like, you want a smoothie? You didn't hear, man.
Here, man. This one's got like goat's milk and honey in it.
Honey in this
smoothie of the day. What is
we make our own granola. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yep. And if it's here in Michigan, it'd be psilocybin.
Becca, you can come up with a good ass. You can come up with some bomb ass granola recipe. I know you can.
Let's see. All right, Blue Kiss. I got Sarasota. Okay, we'll go to Anna Marie Island. We'll go there. We'll go to Anna Marie Island. That's close to Sarasota. That's where old Daddy Red grew up on Anna Marie
Tampanese.
Island.
Back to Tampanese.
Tampanese. Daddy Red may have been exposed to Tampanese back in the day if they were around back then.
Daddy Red is the coolest dude that we know in his age group.
Daddy Red probably was in that area in more like the 50s, late 50s, probably not the 60s, but his mom might have been there still. No, they all moved up here. They were all up here in the 60s, so no, they were up north. Some of my uncles lived down there though. Daddy Red lived down there. I guess maybe it must have been a lot younger when he was a child. They had a little house down on Anna Marie Island. Drove by it, dude. That's a really cool little island, man.
Red, we got 17 minutes left on our history lesson. We still got to talk about Nasty Nancy.
Yes, well, Nancy did her thing, man. She gave everybody the boot. She gave all the researchers the boot. She carrying it up. Sorry,
shut that shit down.
Sorry about that. Those
so unaptly named that. Yes.
shouldn't have used that, but that's what happened.
That's what happened, though. I'm telling you.
But in 1986, something happened, dude. Something happened. A man by the name Rick Doblin. Again, apologize. I apologize about the
Hobdoblin
accent. Rick Doblin. Doblin
from Dublin.
He started, or was one of the founders at least, of the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies, otherwise known as MAPS. And MAPS has been doing research on MDMA, LSD. At least they have been shooting for research or promoting for research on ibogaine, all of these other chemicals, right? So MAPS has been doing their thing since the mid 80s, basically. Okay. Very, very interesting stuff with that one. Oh, also another interesting thing. I was alive, my lifetime and Maria Sabina's lifetimes have crossed, actually.
Have overlapped?
Yes, they overlapped by within a year.
Did she cradle you while you were riding with Mama Red on a flight?
Maria Sabina passed away in November of 1985, and I was born in March of 1985. So our lives overlapped by about 6 years or so.
When he says 1985, to people that are old, when he says 1985, it's so different than when he says that his age is, what it is. So.
It's so wild, isn't it? Yeah, 85 seems like a lot longer ago.
85 is like, you know what? To the real ones out there, 1985 is Voltron.
Dude, 1985 is Alf and Back to the Future.
Ooh, Back to the Future, yeah.
85's got some gems,
some bangers, yeah. Some Simple really Minds and shit.
I think like maybe even no, I'm not positive about those. Okay, anyways. So anyway.
Nasty Nancy back and doing her thing. What are we talking about?
Well, we're going back down to we were in the 80s. In around 2000, we have John Hopkins come online. This is kind of why I say around 2000 is kind of the end of the, war on drugs, Nancy Reagan era, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it was even because Reagan was no longer, dude, you know what? That kind of lines up.
He wasn't the fucking president in 2000.
No, in 86. In 86.
He was still the president in 88.
In 88? Okay. Yeah. I know he was the
president. He was president from 1980 until 1988. President when I was
born. So 86.
Yeah. Then you went to Bush the first and 89.
So he was probably low key doing this in 86 and 87, and then probably started making it a little bit.
86 is the Iran-Contra affair.
Yeah. So Rick Doblin was doing the grassroots creation of this thing, probably 86, 87, and probably into the 90s. But you have the MAPS foundation of what it is today with the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies. And then John Hopkins comes online in 2000. They start doing the advocating for research. They start getting funding for research or funding themselves for research, however they're getting it. And they start, with ibogaine. They're working on PTSD, depression, addiction. This is all current research. This is research that's been going on now for the last 20 years, guys. Okay, it's back on board, back on track for the last 20 years. This whole microdosing thing isn't anything new. It's not a new wave. I was looking into this stuff over 10 years ago. I was researching James Fadiman and shit 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like the stuff was out there, the microdosing tech and all of that. So it's just being renaissanced, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's being reestablished. It's being revocated for, re-advocated for.
Rediscovered
in a sense. Yeah.
Reapplied.
People are now, who may have had bad trips in the past, are now taking smaller doses and saying, that's not what I had. Oh, that feels different. This is much different. This is much more soothing to my psyche.
First of all, you may not have had the real thing in the past, and maybe now you are. So it's really hard to don't bring baggage from previous fucking trips with you to your next fucking adventure, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't go into it expecting it to be anything other than its own experience in its very own way. To do so is to end up with fucking disappointment and just go ahead.
No, I thought you were done. I was trying to catch you on your offset. And the analogs, they go back to the 60s. I mean, or further. I mean, who knows how long back certain analogs of LSD? Maybe those go back to the 50s, just the same. Orange sunshine. I don't know if I said orange sunshine. You know, everybody had that acid orange sunshine. I haven't had it. I'm too young, but a lot of people talk about orange sunshine. You know, it's quoted in movies. It's quoted in like Saturday Night Live. Talk about or orange barrels or whatever they were. That was ALD 52. That was an analog of LSD. It wasn't even LSD. It was something similar to LSD, but it wasn't LSD. There's also LSA, which can be extracted and derived from morning glory seeds. That's a practice that goes back a very, very long time.
But that's a touchy thing too. That's potentially poisonous to you.
LSA,
you fuck that one up.
LSA.
No, the morning glory seeds themselves.
No, not necessarily. Morning glory seeds maybe in excess, possibly. Where you do get, okay, don't go to the store and buy morning glory.
Don't do this.
This is what happens. They actually put because this is known, right? It's known in the plant kingdom that they get you high or whatever. So they put a wax or whatever on it, or maybe even pesticides, or who knows what it is that's on it, right? That would make you sick. You know, it's almost like something that makes you, it's kind of like isopropyl alcohol. Okay. ISO is in the alcohol, so you don't drink
to discourage. To
discourage you drinking. So they put an agent on these seeds. So if you eat a pack of seeds, you're going to get sick and you're going to get really upset stomach. You're not going to want to fucking do it again. You're probably not going to get high from them because you need like 10 packs of seeds, right?
So
you need a lot. You need like a handful of seeds. You need a decent amount of these morning glory seeds to get enough LSA.
Next time you go to Home Depot, they're going to have that shit behind the counter like Sudafed, where you got to sign.
Give
me your driver's license.
We get into this a little bit and the hypocrisy of these things, because these substances
clandestine hypocrisy,
nutmeg, you know, all of this stuff is all been known psychoactive chemicals. I mean, so many things change our perception. Coffee, garlic, like you can get into the roots of spinach. Like if you just ate a plant-fed diet, you would feel really different. You know what I mean? Like you would feel more in tune or enlightened, or like, I don't know what it is, but like I've done it and you like almost feel high off it. It's very strange. Or maybe you feel getting high more. I don't know what it is, but it's something. It's like a runner's high. But it's very strange to have like the maybe it's living food or whatever it is running through you. Anyways, so you know, we have all of this to work with nowadays. Here we are with this information, you know, so we can talk about this, all of the old research that has occurred that is now occurring is kind of like being slingshotted daily. You know, it's almost like exponentially. Skilbo, we were just recently talking about the most recent bit, which was the neuroplasticity of LSD and things like that, and being able to calculate it in the blood plasma. So this is all new stuff. Where are we going to be at in another 10 years? I mean, I think it's great. We're coming to the crest of that. We're probably still going uphill of this, like, quote, renaissance.
Oh, for sure. Right? We're going uphill. Yeah.
Still going uphill. Once more states start to legalize, more research will be done.
The funding will become available, and these schools won't shy away from it. They may open their own departments.
Departments will.
As study comes, it's only going to help us, just like it's helped us for cannabis.
And there are other substances. Like if you talk about Shulgin, like he alone synthesized like hundreds, if not thousands, of psychoactive compounds. You know,
crazy to think about that.
Analogs. They're constantly being. The war on drugs doesn't work because the war on nature doesn't work. You always talk about, you can't. What is it? You can't what our consciousness, Skilbo. You can't
legislate my consciousness.
Legislate. There's the word.
That's our Graham Hancock. Legislate
the consciousness. But you can't like change nature, because all it takes is the change of a hydrogen atom or a carbon atom or something like that.
Well, it's because the pharmaceutical companies have been doing that shit for years to screw people over to keep charging high prices. And,
the next thing dude, if you do it the way that they continuously, like every time a new substance is created, they have to eventually, it's just going to be like everything, including hand soap, is going to be illegal or restricted, right? It's going to be like classified. You're going to have to like have a permit to buy hand soap or something like that.
Don't legislate my toilet bowl cleaner.
Don't legislate my toilet bowl cleaner. Good call. Yeah, man.
You still got to explain that to me.
What, the toilet bowl cleaner?
I said that LSD is like toilet bowl cleaner for the mind. Like, it's like one of those things where you use it and it's beneficial, but it continues to work. So you don't need to take it all the time. For me, it's like something that slowly erodes away. While it's there, though, it's keeping everything squeaky clean, right? But as time goes on, the efficacy of that original toilet bowl cleaner dunk, like one that goes in the back of the tank, goes away. So I need to get another one. I need to redose my toilet bowl tank with another toilet bowl cleaner. That
hand soap question mark. Yeah, man. Yeah,
man.
Yeah. There'll be just like no soap.
Don't be uncouth, Ryan. He's got the goat milk soap. Don't forget.
But yeah, like they'll just have to keep like making substances illegal until it gets down to the what's
they just keep finding out more shit, dude.
Yeah, exactly, until it gets down to like that. And I mean
just imagine that 25 years ago nobody knew shit about what anything of these concentrates and hydrocarbons and all this other stuff, these other forms of production, did not exist just 20 years ago. So you guys and gals that are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you're still going to be around in 20 more years, hopefully, and you'll be able to see where this shit really fucking goes.
It did exist, though. The processing knowledge has existed, but it's been in other industries, right? So like they've just finally
extrapolated that knowledge,
turned the wheel,
and turned it to the clandestine market,
to using it for cannabis, right? Like the way that they would use for sugar extraction or shit like that. They finally figured it out. Oh, let's use hydrocarbons and whatever. I'm sure that's all the same processing type of equipment for food extraction and stuff.
Red, we got 4 minutes left. What do you got left on the checklist?
The checklist is, that sheet's over, man. That sheet's it. We got to today.
Well done.
We're here today. We're
done.
We're here.
We're in the moment.
We're in the Renaissance now, man. We blew through the war on drugs. Fuck the war on drugs. It doesn't exist anymore. Like I said, man, it ended in the year 2000. It ended back in 96 when California did medical. That was when shit started. I give California a lot of props for, dude, Prop 215. Is that what it was? Did I finally get there with it? I said Prop 42. It says so many numbers. Maybe it was Prop 215.
You've been really good at keeping track of the numbers, though. Whenever it's really counted, we talk to somebody and you like drop the numbers. That's Prop 361. I
have a useless photographic memory. Yeah,
but it's a better number than what I'm thinking of. So I always think he's right.
Guys, I just want to say one thing. I just found out that I have a little baby cousin that was born just now, and it's a boy.
It came into the world.
Congratulations.
Yes. Little boy came
just
into the world.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, this family, they chose to not know the sex of their child. My brother did that.
Old school.
That's something that I find incredibly awesome. That is something that, obviously I want, it all depends on, the other half of when I have kids, but that's something my brother put it to me this way. He was like, you don't have many good surprises in life, and I'm like, that's one of the best ones right there. If anything is going to give you a surprise, like that's fucking it. Nothing you can prepare for, you know what I mean? You just have to fly by the seat of your pants. You go to, what color are we going to paint the room? I don't fucking neutral, I guess, and that's cool because there's no argument over neutral. It's fucking great. It's about as easy as you can get. Green, man. It's all green, baby.
Is there a name? Blue Kiss asked, because Blue Kiss has baby fever.
You got a name?
Not yet.
Not yet.
The name is Not Yet. Yes.
Welcome, Not Yet, to the world.
Not yet. I love it.
2 minutes left, Fred. 2 minutes left.
Skilbo,
what I would like to say for 2 minutes. Yes, we are supposed to have a Wake and Bake with the Groskies this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. over on the Michigan Bros Grow Show channel. So make sure that you guys are up and at 'em for that. Come through, hang out. Sunday night, of course, will be the Bro Show Live. You get to hang out with the three of us and all the rest of the gang over there. And Monday is late session, 11 p.m. So with that, I give it back to you with less than a minute to go. Thank you as always for letting me hang out with you guys.
Becca, you have anything else?
Super fun and happy night. Love it.
It's awesome, man. Congrats on that baby, dude.
Congratulations again.
It was almost
Thanks.
a 420 baby. We
I
hoping on
know.
a
I was like,
420 baby.
It's going to be
420.
420 because she was due on the
Oh.
19th. So it's a little bit.
It's cool,
Very
man.
close.
It's cool. Congrats, Becca.
Yeah, man.
Well, I'll tell you that privately. We can talk to your family. But everybody, I just want to say, here we are. The show definitely is shout out to for mental health awareness and getting into the depths of harm reduction, because if you're trying substances that aren't regulated, there's a good chance that they're not the substances that you think that they are, and you might want to hit them with the test kit. Okay. That includes something for fentanyl, most importantly, of anything, because I guarantee we all know somebody whose lives have been changed because of that substance. There's also test kits we've talked about analogs a lot. So get your stuff tested for analogs. You can test for your LSD or your DMT, even your psilocybin, man. If you're questionable on your mushroom, an L-rich test will test the tryptamine psilocybin. It'll test for an indole, the tryptamine psilocybin. So L-rich test will clear you on that. You might have to grind up your powders, maybe look at a bunk police or do some Reddit researching on something on how to figure that out. But if you're unsure about your mushrooms, you can always hit it with an L-rich test. So that's kind of what I want to make sure that we promote here and getting into this fantastic renaissance, guys. It was a fun show for me. It was fun, like looking back into the history of some of this stuff, and just want to remind everybody, like, this stuff's been around for a really long time, and whether or not it's natural or has been synthesized, they do serve
Your brain
a purpose.
doesn't know the difference. I promise.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. The molecular compound, and honestly, a lot like such as LSD is more natural than something that is, like a Marinol. Marinol, THC, pharmaceutical, synthetic. LSD is similar to that in the respect is probably more natural because
Hillbilly
LSD is
herb
derived from
grower
ergot.
says, "Is it easy to test LSD?" We
You
want to
can
answer that before we go.
You can test your LSD with the L-rich test. You can test your LSD with the L-rich test to determine whether or not it's an indole, and whether or not it is part of that indole class. Okay. If you test it with an L-rich test and it tests positive, it could be LSD. It could also be a dozen different analogs of LSD. So then you might want to back it up with a Hoffman 25 test. And that Hoffman 25 test will get you better off in the range of whether or not you have Hoffman 25 or another analog, and what that other analog may be. It doesn't test hot for all analogs, but it will test adversely for something that's not LSD. So you also want to reference whoever you get your testing reagents from, reference either their website or some kind of a pamphlet they give you, and also re-reference Reddit, because I have found that Bunk Police, the shade purple on their book is much different than the shade that the average LSD tab comes.
And that's an active subreddit
Reddit
that you will get answers quickly with.
Yeah, post your photo and a question to Reddit.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep, there's lots of harm reduction on there, and I would say to get some more information from professionals in that sense. And if you are considering LSD or anything like that for therapeutic reasons, seek professionals for that purpose as well. So, you can't necessarily do it alone. So, and yeah, man, I think that's all I really got today. There's a whole
right on.
Took a couple minutes over and finish it out there. So I really appreciate everybody hanging in, man, and chopping up some history with me. It was fun, man. It was really cool getting back into the books. I keep minimizing and coming back to the same one.
Don't forget to give the show a thumbs up on the way out the door, if you don't mind. And if you're not subscribed, come on, you guys are watching and you're subscribed. You already know.
And hit the bell, please. Ring ding, a ding.
Well, if you have the notifications on when Red comes live on Bicycle Day, if he comes live, you will know.
Dude, I was thinking of a couple things, man. I might just come live in Albert Hoffman's book.
Is there a time?
LSD, My Problem Child. I don't know, man. Possibly. It depends on my mood, I suppose, for the evening. In the book LSD, My Problem Child, there's a quote. There's a section of dictation that Albert Hoffman cites, and it's pretty profound and pretty beautiful. So I may just recite that and just have a small little dedication to the man himself in that sort of a way.
Right on.
But you know, who knows? Yeah, we might jump on live. Why not? It might be fun that way.
Perfect.
After all, it will be Bicycle Day. That's Tuesday, April 19th. So I hope everybody celebrates safely, of course, and take
Spartan.
I didn't say that.
Come on, is that what I said? Did I say that?
That's
I might
over the OnlyFans
live.
Polarity
Okay.
Science.
The only yep. That's appreciate you. Cheers, everybody. Have a great night. Rock on. Yay. That's fun.
LOL.